Well, right, we got confirmation of this, that the South Koreans and the North Koreans are going to continue their sort of talks, their amicable back and forth, and we are going to stop with the South Koreans these military exercises that were planned to go right through and past the Olympics, the Winter Olympics that Seoul is hosting next month. In fact, we've committed to doing that right now, and a lot of people are concerned that we're sort of playing right in the North Koreans' hands. I thought I'd get the read from former Connecticut Independent Senator Joe Lieberman, of course, the vice presidential candidate on the Democratic ticket in 2000 as well. Senator, good to have you.
Great to be back, Neil. Happy New Year.
To you as well. What do you make of this overture, at least on our part? All right, we'll halt these joint exercises till after the Olympics.
I think it's constructive, and let's say, although President Trump communicates in a way that previous presidents have not, through Twitter, a lot of times making foreign policy statements, including the one the other night about the nuclear button.
What did you think of that?
Well, it was so unconventional, and I must say it jolted me. On the other hand, if you step back, and I'm trying to put it in the best light, he was essentially saying to Kim Jong-un, don't think you're going to intimidate the United States of America. First off, we don't even really know that you have the missiles and the nuclear weapons that you suggest you have, but we're much more powerful than you, and be careful about threatening us or playing with us. And it's just possible that you've got a good cop, bad cop situation here where we're the bad cop and the South Koreans are the good cop. We've got Kim Jong-un nervous, and maybe he's going to begin to cooperate or at least lessen the tensions that he's creating. But he's a danger. I mean, he's
the North Korean leader.
The North Korean leader is a danger. Also, they have invested so much money. I'm convinced that some of it is coming from Iran in developing their missile capacity and nuclear program in the last year or two, that we got to worry about them, and we got to create some fear in them. We got to convince them that they can remain a regime without threatening to use nuclear weapons.
The presidents have tried it and failed at it, both parties.
That's true, and that's why I don't get as angry as a lot of people do at President Trump for some of the rhetoric he's used against the North Korean leader, because all the civilized talk, sweet talk, negotiations
hasn't done anything.
I mean, Bob Gates famously said at one point, when a similar situation with North Koreans, they're trying to sell us the same cow we bought twice already. And in other words, same pattern, create a crisis, get some money, stop the crisis for a while, and then start it up again and try to squeeze it.
Well, you're right. Maybe something happens.
Maybe
here.
I hope so.
What do you make of the Senate right now? It's a 51-49 Senate with Doug Jones in Alabama winning that seat and getting sworn in. Tight as a tick, and they've got a lot of big problems to address.
Right. Well, you know, it's a question that we've been asking for a long time. I'm happy to be the co-chair of a group called No Labels, which works for more bipartisanship in Congress. We've got two leaders in the Senate, Joe Manchin of West Virginia, Democrat, and Susan Collins of Maine, Republican. But the truth is that overall the Senate is divided on party lines. And look,
I don't see it changing.
The problem is you're always close to the next election.
Right.
And in my opinion, what the public would like to see, and in some ways it played out in Alabama, though it was more than that, with Doug Jones, because he kept saying, I'm going to work across party lines. I'm going to try to get things done. That's what the public really wants to see. But there's got to be a willingness to compromise on both sides, Republicans, the White House, Democrats in the Senate. Chuck Schumer is able to do that. He's skillful at it. I hope
Why do we get these budget battles? And both sides have done it, where we attach things to it that shouldn't be part of a spending package, like the DACA thing and all of that. Now, to be fair, Democrats who railed against that then are doing this now, and Republicans did it then and railing against it now. So I know how politics work.
Right.
But that's what happens when we push these things off all the time, right? And we've got just days, in this case, a couple of weeks to go.
We have less than a couple of weeks to go, or just about a couple of weeks till the budget runs out. So it's going to take compromise. Really, it takes leadership. It has to start in the White House, but then it's got to be the Republican and Democratic leaders of both chambers, and they have got to be willing to say no both to individual members and to their far left and far right. Because in the end, you pass a budget by coming to the middle. You don't give up all your principle, but you compromise to get something done.
It doesn't happen.
It hasn't happened enough, but the consequences here of a shutdown of government are severe enough, and the impact, who loses most from them, is so uncertain that I personally think they're going to work out a budget agreement before the time runs out.
You know, it's already looking like an interesting presidential year where someone was quoted saying, you know, there are 30 Democrats interested in being their party's nominee already.
Yeah.
Do you see it being a very crowded field?
I do. The Republicans last time had, what, 17 or 18?
17.
Yeah. And I think the Democrats will have at least that. It's an important moment. Look, in American politics, the time when you really say, it's not a platform, really. It's to say what is the party about is when you nominate a presidential candidate. And you know,
it seems you know, the president, he has these low opinion, excuse me, numbers, even with the run up in the market, run up in the economy.
Right.
So he's ripe for the taking. Do you agree with that? They're sort of kicking him.
Well, let's be honest. A lot of these are the same people who said Donald Trump had no chance to get the nomination for president, and certainly no chance.
Are you surprised he isn't benefiting poll-wise more from the good news that we have seen?
I am, and I think it's the result of some of the personal behavior, the tweets, the arguments going on. People want, I think people are really happy overall and will be happier about the tax reform bill because they'll be happier because they'll see their taxes.
Your old party, before you were an independent, is railing against it and think that's a winner at the polls.
Yeah.
My view has been, whether you're Republican or Democrat, conservative or liberal, a lot more people than it's generally thought could benefit from this thing, especially those, because their companies are getting tax cuts, are going to share the wealth with them. Would it be premature for Democrats to be railing against this?
I think so. I mean, to me, the number one criticism of the tax cut or tax reform bill is that it adds to the debt. But that's down the road. For now, for the rest of this year, next year, et cetera, most people and most businesses, including small businesses, are going to see a significant cut in their taxes, and I think it's going to be popular. So
you're going to see a lot of people leave Connecticut, though, with the high taxes and everything else.
Well, that's a matter of the state taxes. So the state really has to figure out a way to change the business climate there, and it's not easy because you got to cut spending, but they have to figure out a way to create some cuts in taxes to keep people, both individuals and businesses in the state. It's a tough time for the state. So, you know, it's going to be an amazing election for Congress this year. Same for president. Democratic Party has a big decision to make. Are they going to become a far-left party, which I don't think wins, or are they going to come back to be I'd call it a center-left party?
That's the Joe Biden approach.
Yeah, Biden is about as close to that. There's a congressman nobody knows about called John Delaney who is running, businessman, same. I don't know that he has a chance, but we'll see. It's going to be a big
that approach, more center.
That approach wins, and if you end up with far left and Trump, it's going to be tempting for somebody to get in and run an independent third-party race, and we'll see.
Maybe like a Joe Lieberman? You know?
No, my time is over for that, but it could be healthy if that's the way it ends up.
Well, very good having you. Happy New Year.
You too, Neil. All the best.
All right, Joe Lieberman.